Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of I Am. I Am is a Catholic podcast in the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Papua New Guinea and Solomon Islands. Here on I Am, we share on the coming Sunday's Gospel every week. Thanks for joining us, guys. Our Gospel for this week is from Matthew chapter 17, verse 9a and 10 to 13. As they came down from the mountain, the disciples put this question to Jesus: "Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" He replied, "Elijah is indeed coming, and he will set everything right again. However, I tell you that Elijah has come already, and they did not recognize him, but treated him as they pleased. And the Son of Man will suffer similarly at their hands." Then the disciples understood that he was speaking of John the Baptist. The Gospel of the Lord. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of I Am. I am pleased as always to have you all back here joining me. Now in this week's Gospel we hear Jesus speaking about how the people, when St. John the Baptist came to them as the new Elijah, they did not recognize him and they had been indifferent towards him, and that caused his arrest and eventual execution. Now what is Jesus telling us here in how he tells the disciples about how St. John the Baptist came but they did not see him, and that they treated him like a criminal, that they treated him badly, and that this eventually led to his persecution? And then Jesus went on to say that this was how that he himself would be treated and eventually executed. In this gospel we see Jesus telling us two things. We human beings, as broken and wicked as we are, we have become doubtful of love in the world. We have become doubtful of love in other people, and even to a certain extent we have become doubtful as to whether or not we ourselves are worthy of love. And these are not thoughts from our Father in heaven, because God tells us in the Bible that we are made of power, love, and self-control. We are made of love. We come from love. Pope Francis, when he was asked what God did before he created the world, Pope Francis said, God loved. And he couldn't contain that love so much that existence and creation burst forth out of him because of love. So we exist because of love. We exist because we are loved by God, who is love. We are created by love, for love, in love, and through love. So the first thing is that we must not doubt that we are worth loving. We must not doubt that other people have love in them. We must not doubt that there is good in people, that there is good in the world. The second thing that we can see from the gospel in Jesus' teaching to his disciples is this thing called cynical pessimism. Cynical pessimism is, again, the doubt in anything good in the world, the doubt in anything good in people. Now this is a sin, because we are called to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And we cannot love our neighbor and we cannot love the world that God has created for us if we think nothing good is in it. Because if we think nothing good is in it, we'll think that there's nothing worth loving in this world. And that is not true. This world is produced of love and is filled with love. Now, because of this sin of cynical pessimism, the devil has been successful in making us be unable to perceive the presence of God in our lives, the act or the acts or the actions of God in our lives. You see, when something good happens in our lives, when we're in a good situation, or there are some good circumstances in our lives, or someone good comes into our life, the sin of cynical pessimism, the devil tries to bring that sin into our hearts and minds so that we do not believe in there being anything good about this person or this situation. But that is not how we were created to be. When God created the world, he said it is good. When God created people, he created them in his own image. When God created people, he created them out of love. And for us to be able to see and perceive God's handmark and God's design, and more importantly, God's presence in people and in the world and in every circumstance and situation in our lives, we must be connected to God. Because how can we perceive God if we cannot recognize him? And how can we recognize him if we do not know how he is? Saint Evagrius, one of the desert fathers of the Catholic Church, stated that prayer is the linking of the intellect to God. That means that through prayer, we are connected to God. We stay connected to God. Therefore, our lesson for this week's gospel, I believe, is Jesus inviting us to become more prayerful, to be connected to God, to stay connected to God, so that when he does come into our lives through people or circumstances, or even by acts of nature, we can clearly see and perceive him, and we can give thanks to him and glorify him. Thanks everyone for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all next week on the next episode. Hey everyone, once again, thank you for joining us for this episode of I Am. We hope that this episode was helpful to you. If you feel that it could be helpful for someone else, please kindly share this video. Also, don't forget to like and to subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you'd like to see more Catholic content, feel free to scroll through our YouTube channel